Good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
For those on Zoom, would you please mute yourself, please? Kathy Morgan, Janice, please mute yourself. Thank you. We hear all your inner thoughts. Yes, it is scary. So good morning. Welcome. I know there's a number of people that are on vacation, but there's a lot of really good stuff we're going to cover today. Our core services has some good stuff to. Please mute yourself, Janice. Thank you. I'm not sure. James, could you do me a favor? Could you go to Jen? I don't think she hears on her. Yep. Just tell her to mute herself. Thank you. All right. So we have a lot of good stuff today. I'm going to chat a little bit about some of the Buffini stuff, which Carol Perkner was on the call with Buffini yesterday. Did anybody else listen to the Buffini recording? It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. So I'm going to touch on some of that today. It was interesting. I spoke to Jen Doobie yesterday about our sales meeting, and this was right after listening to Brian Buffini, and a good portion of what Brian had in his presentation, I had already put into our meeting, just in kind of like a different form. So you'll see, Carol said she was on the first 2/3 of the meeting anyway. You'll probably recognize some of the stuff that was reviewed here. And then I mentioned in the video, the intro video for this meeting, that at the end of this meeting, I'm going to show you the video. If you want to stick around, I'm going to show you the video of the incident with the drone, which I got yesterday. I've seen it in the past, but this is the first time I actually got it. For those of you that are on Zoom, I was not going to put this as part of the meeting, but I've gotten special requests to make sure it was part of the meeting. So I will continue to keep recording this, and you'll be able to see it. Hopefully I'll be able to switch it over, and you'll see that. So first up this morning, a second, I want to make sure this is going to work. Always doesn't. There's the beginning. First up this morning is, keep jiggling back and forth, Dan Rank with Homesale Mortgage.
Good morning, everyone. James, I don't know if you want to hand those things out a while. So this morning we're going to talk about basically how to buy a primary residence and turn your existing primary into an investment or rental property, but to do it to make sure that you're not committing mortgage fraud. So you think, well, gosh, why is mortgage fraud so important with this? So believe it or not, occupancy fraud is the #1 type of mortgage fraud. And what is occupancy fraud? Well, basically it's when someone says, you know, I'm going to occupy this property as my primary residence, but they actually do not occupy it as their primary residence. And especially in the current market, people would want to do that for two reasons. #1, if you recall back to April of 2022, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac changed guidelines extensively on buying non-owner occupied properties, whereas the rates are kind of ridiculous, even though rates are high now, but just the pricing component of non-owner occupied properties has been pretty unfavorable now for well over a year. So that's reason #1. And reason #2 is the down payment requirements for a non-owner occupied property are much greater than an owner occupied property. So they're kind of two of the main reasons why somebody would essentially be inclined to commit mortgage fraud, occupancy fraud, and state why they are not occupying the property as an investment property. So if you're owning a home now and you say, okay, I want to buy something else and turn this current property into an investment property, that's absolutely legitimate. The components of that are, first and foremost, what's the qualification look like? Because now you're going to hold two mortgages. You're looking to buy another property and retain the existing one. Well, if your income is sufficient to hold both mortgages without consideration of any type of rental income, it's fairly easy to be able to do that. The only actual requirement is you completing, or the buyer, I should say, completing what's called a letter of intent. So they are signing a letter stating that they are converting their current residence to an investment property and they're purchasing another home as their primary residence. I don't know if there's any checks and balances system in place after the fact. So for instance, if somebody says, I'm going to buy this other property as my primary residence, the expectations are always that they're going to occupy that property within 60 days. If for some reason they do not, they are actually at that point in time in jeopardy of some type of fraud investigation, because that is a requirement. It's clearly stated in all the documentation that they're signing. Probably worst case scenario is if somehow the new mortgage servicer got wind that they did not occupy that property in the specific time frame, the note could be called. And essentially what that means is that they have a $250,000 mortgage on that property, it could be demanded to be paid in full immediately. So that's usually the main way that occupancy fraud is addressed. If it's a situation where somebody is indeed moving to this property and converting their existing residence to an investment property and they do not qualify to hold both mortgages, the way to overcome that is obtaining a lease on the
10
residence.
o'clock.
Not sure who that is. I maybe Karen Risser. Okay, please mute yourself. Thank you. But obtaining a lease on the existing residence and also the security deposit. And with that information, we can then use 75% of the monthly rent to offset the current mortgage payment on that property. And in most cases, that's going to work out then for qualification purposes. But you do need to have that lease in place to be able to utilize any type of rental income from the current subject property. Any questions on that particular information so far? Then, of course, if you're looking to buy a multi-unit property, if you're looking at FHA, believe it or not, with FHA, you can buy up to a 4-unit property and only require 3.5% down payment, which is pretty cool. I wish I would have known this when I was in my 20s. Probably would have done it. A lot of people would have as well. With conventional financing, if it's a 2-unit property and you're going to occupy one of the units, minimum down payment is 15%. And if it's a 3 or 4 unit dwelling, even though you're occupying one of them as a primary residence, you do need to have 25% down. And of course, if it's a multi-unit property and there are leases or rents for the other units, you can utilize that as qualifying income as well. If there is not a current lease in place, part of the appraisal process is obtaining a rent schedule, and then that is the fair market value rent that will be used in consideration for that particular unit as well. The other thing I want to point out with that conversion of your primary residence into an investment property, if for some reason you utilize some type of assistance, PHFA or some other grant program, those funds may need to be paid back if you do convert that primary residence to an investment property before that period has expired. For instance, if it's a 5-year or 10-year forgiveness period and you convert prior to that, you may have to repay, the buyer may have to repay those funds. You have a question, Carol, on that? Okay. All right. If you have any questions on any of these situations, a client that's looking to do this, obviously talk to James or myself, and we can guide them through the process. Yes, sir. So when an appraiser does an appraisal on a property, whether it's going to be either an investment property or multi-unit, they're basically taking the square footage of that particular unit and doing like a comparative market analysis to determine what the fair market rent value is of that particular unit. So if it's say $1,000, 75% of it can be used then as qualifying income. So that's what a rent schedule is. It's an appraisal component. Any other questions? All right, I guess.
You can lay that down right over there. Okay. And Sarah had a conflict this morning, so she sends her best. She thanks you for all the business and things that you've done with her over the last 30 days. She'll be here next month, and I'm going to turn it over to James White, who I believe most of the people, I'll handle the rest of it here.
Okay.
Here's the microphone.
One of those copies.
Sure.
Bigger
Go
print
ahead.
for me. And the other one.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning.
Okay, so today's topic we have on the first sheet with the maroon coloring basically would be, it's just about your home. It's your largest asset. You just want to make sure it's protected, and this is what I do all day, every day, basically. And it lists all the things that would affect the replacement cost versus the market value of your home. And just from some things I see in Lancaster County, typically they're usually pretty close to the market value, the replacement cost of the home. The exceptions would be if you have a larger value home, and I would say your older inner city homes as well in Lancaster, like typically a row home. Row homes usually going to cost a little bit more to replace than the market value is going to bear, unless it's very, very good condition. Sometimes those end up being higher as well too, but those are usually the ones that in Lancaster County, or at least it can vary, but that's typically what I see, at least day to day, doing what I do. And you always want to make sure you have your home insured 100% to the replacement cost, because you don't want to be out of luck when a claim occurs as well too. So second thing.
James, question here.
Oh,
What do you suggest for loss of use?
loss of use. I think, I think we have it. Most of them are, I want to say 20%. I think maybe it's more. 20% of the replacement cost of the home. It might be higher. I would have to check. I would have to check.
I sold a house to a young couple.
Mhm.
It got blown up last week.
Yeah, no, they called me on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day it was.
What do you suggest for people? Because obviously it's gonna be a year till we get back in that house.
Mhm.
What does that mean? Can you explain what that? Loss of use? Where are you gonna live when you can't use your house?
Yep.
Who's gonna pay for all your replacement clothing and your food?
Called,
The baby's diapers?
So that's rolled into the other.
It's called additional living expense too. It might be.
It's something to think about,
Yeah.
because till it happens, they don't think the 78,000 is gonna cover it.
For a whole year of living.
Well, their house is blown up and imploded.
Their personal property would be covered under
That's
the
different.
personal property coverage, not all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lucky that both parents are in the area.
Hmm. I think it's either 30 or it might be, I don't remember off the top of my head what we do minimum, because it's usually all the carriers have a set limit where they have for that as well too. Minimum. Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly we can up that as well too. Yeah.
James, just at the end of this meeting, if you could get that information to me, and that
Mhm.
way I'll send it out to everybody with the meeting notes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I know we have a minimum suggestion. I know I don't look at that as often as I do the replacement cost. I'm not going to lie to you. The replacement cost or the personal property is the one I usually, that's the easiest one to remember off the top of my head. It's 50%, but I want to say it's at least 20. It might be 30 is what we recommend at a minimum. So, next thing would be on the replacement cost of the home. That's the next sheet, the second sheet as well too. One of the things as well too, why we always recommend to go with the replacement cost. If you look at the second bullet point there, what does the actual cash value mean? You don't want to insure your house like that, because that's basically the way your vehicle is insured. So taking the depreciation into factor as well too, is that second bullet point on there. And then you always want to here's another thing. I mean, this is just common sense as well too, but you always want to update your agent as well too, if you have any additions or anything onto your home as well, to make sure you're 100% insured. And we always write our policies too with what's called an additional replacement cost, gives you 25% additional on top of the 100% value of the replacement cost. It's called additional replacement cost, gives you 25%. Some carriers offer up to 50% as well too. So basically, as well as I just said as well too, if you do anything to your home, just make sure you update your agent so they're up to date. So in the event of a loss, you're not underinsured, basically. So and if you have any further questions, just let me know.
Thank you, James. Anything else for him? Okay. Appreciate it. Couple of things before we get into the guts of the meeting. We mentioned this at last sales meeting. This is the showing time offer manager. It was kind of put on the table for you guys to take a look at. As of July 5th, I believe, July 5th, it is now live in our company. Now, all of your stuff is turned off at this point in time, but you have access to it. And you can pick and choose which transactions you want to utilize this for or not. And the main thing I want to get across to you is, first of all, it is a great tool to use. So I would highly encourage you to get in and take a look at it, see what the benefits of it are. But for those of you that, with certain tools in the past, you look at it and kind of dismiss it out of hand and say, I'm not going to use this thing. I still would have you get in there and take a look at it, because there's an ever increasing number of agents and companies across our footprint who are utilizing it. And if you get into a situation where you are submitting an offer and it says, please submit it through the showing time offer manager, and your jaw drops and says, I don't know what I'm doing, you're going to be at a disadvantage with your client. So even if you have no intent of using it on your listings, I would highly encourage you to understand the process and what kind of communication goes out between the listing agent and all the buyer's agents. Okay. It's available for you now. As I said, there is some training, which I'll mention briefly coming up. There is some training on this. It's not that hard to use. It's pretty intuitive. And as I said, I think you're going to see more and more of this in our footprint. And before I turn this on, I could not get the sound to work this morning. So it's coming out of this thing, which sounds like at the back of a can someplace. So I'm just going to let you know ahead of time. I apologize.
Following are a few stories sharing why these sellers and others like them choose quick buy immediate offer solutions. Often, they want or need certainty, speed, and convenience, or a combination of these, more than they need top dollar. Do your discovery to find out what is more important to your sellers, and be the agents with the solutions they need. Quick buy immediate offer. Mark and Deneen needed to close quickly in 3 weeks. Mark and Deneen found a house they absolutely fell in love with, but they needed to sell their current home fast in order to buy it. They chose the immediate offer and closed in 3 weeks. Yes, 3 weeks. To Mark and Deneen, it was worth the quick buy cost of convenience to have the certainty of getting their dream home. Quick buy lock option. 2 sellers chose quick buy lock with the same quick buy agent. TJ and Brooke and Dean and Constance. 2 separate sets of sellers with the same agent both wanted to be stronger buyers when purchasing new homes. With their quick buy solutions, both made offers without a sale contingency, confident they had the certainty of a sale they couldn't get on the open market. While both homes sold traditionally, the sellers also had the peace of mind knowing that even if those sales fell apart, they were locked in with Quick Buy who would purchase their homes, all but guaranteeing the ability to close on their new homes. The result? Happy sellers and one very busy agent, as Quick Buy helped secure both sides of both transactions. Quick Buy Leaseback. Mike and Margot needed certainty and simplicity. They didn't know they needed leaseback until they needed it. Mike and Margot have two demanding careers and are parents of preschool-age daughters. The thought of decluttering, making repairs, and managing showings was extremely overwhelming to them, so they chose the easy route and chose to sell through the Quick Buy Immediate offer. Everything was going smoothly with the Quick Buy sale until a few days prior to the closing. They received word that the new home they were purchasing would be delayed. For most other sellers, this would be a huge problem, but not for Mike and Margot. At the last minute, they were able to rent back through the Quick Buy Leaseback option. This saved them the hassle of moving twice and the additional expense to store their personal belongings and stay in a hotel. Crisis averted. Quick Buy Leaseback to the rescue. Quick Buy Immediate Offer Solutions. Agents solidify their role as the local real estate expert with a solution for every situation. Thank you.
So the reason why I played this morning, we've been talking about Quick Buy for quite some time now. The reason why I played this morning is we are in a changing market. And a lot of things are happening with buyers and sellers where they need certain flexibilities to do certain things. I think all of us have been in situations where we've submitted offers on properties and we are in competition with 20 other people and we're trying to figure out, some little edge to get our buyers in properties and our sellers out of properties. Quick Buy can do that for you. It's just one more tool in your tool belt. So if you haven't taken the time to understand what the various options are, once again, there's great training on this. All you have to do is sit through the training, get the main points, talk to your clients about it, and the people at Quick Buy will essentially do the rest for you. But you've got to understand what it means to utilize a Quick Buy program. So I would highly encourage you to understand the program. Once again, it's another thing that you can use with your clients. Agent Plus. We have Agent Plus brochures out by the mailboxes. This is easy money, really easy money. All you have to do is forward somebody on to me or any of our other managers in geographic locations. And Donna's in the back going, forward them to me, forward them to me.
Agents that just constantly just like text me and say, hey, can you contact this person? Here's their name,
Yeah.
their number, email.
Right.
And then I fill out the agent process and for them.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of that stuff. Essentially, what we need you to do is, as you are going about your business on a day-to-day basis, you probably are going to run into some disgruntled agents or people who aren't satisfied with their current brokerage. All you have to do is forward them on to Donna or myself, and we will be happy to pick up the ball from there. And as I said, they get here to our company and you can make residual income off of that for as long as both of you are with the company. It is easy money. And by the way, the money that is being paid to you as the referring agent isn't coming out of their pocket, okay? So it's something the company is paying. I just want to make sure that everybody is aware of this as you are going from your day-to-day operations. Gosh. I have been on agents' homepages on our website, and it's incredible what I see sometimes. If you haven't been on your homepage on homesale.com, I would highly encourage you to get in there. And first of all, let's see what your picture looks like. If your picture is from 25 years ago, we need to get some adjustments. We have Beth Gress, who stops by here on a quarterly basis, and she takes pictures of people. Now, there's a fee for that. But if you don't have a current photo, I'd highly encourage you to update that. In addition, the company, if they get nothing from you, as far as what to put on this page, put something really, 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 really generic. And you look like everybody else. Your goal is to stand out from other people. Okay. So I highly encourage you to take a look at your homepage on homesale.com, in addition to other sites like realtor.com and Zillow. How do they look? And if you're looking at that with an independent eye, would you do business with yourself? Just to ask your question then. Okay.
I can say I'm very glad that I decided to come, and I'm here because it's really kind of blown me away, and it really does give you step-by-step processes, and I'm really kind of excited to. I've already started using some of them. I just saved a deal that tried to terminate 2 nights ago, and I just got off the phone, and we're getting everything worked out. And last night I got a call that I won an offer out of 5. So I do believe in the process. I do believe in all this stuff. It's just putting the processes in order and having the processes. So they really do give you the processes step by step, and I'm really excited to get it rocking and rolling.
I've been a realtor for 19 years, and the main reason that I came back and will continue to come back is I actually got results, like massive results. I could see it in my daily life and actually in numbers in my pocket. The main reason I came back is I saw the result, but now I can actually, like you do with a movie and anything else, you repeat. What I did was I came back intentionally to find out, and it's on my note card, how to even more do my daily planning. So that's my goal, is to learn how to block time even better. That's my purpose for these 4 days, and I got it.
So we have another Ninja installation coming up in September. Who's been through Ninja here? Okay. So we have a number of people who have been through Ninja. It is a fabulous, fabulous program, both from a personal perspective and also from a business perspective. The nice thing about this is you can go ahead and take the course, and then over a period, I think it's of 12 months, I think it's 12 months afterwards, you can be reimbursed some of your costs based upon the transactions that you're putting together. But it's a fabulous system if you want to know more about it. By the way, I'll put more details with the stuff that I send out. But if you want to know more details about it, come and talk to me. I have all the material in my office. I can show you some of the things that were done. I highly encourage you. I mean, I was there as a manager. I know Jen goes, you've been to 2 or 3 now?
I've been to
2. So it's a really, really neat program. Here are some upcoming virtual training sessions: advanced.loop and also mobile homes. I got a couple of questions from agents in this office yesterday about mobile homes. Some things that I learned about mobile homes yesterday, and things to do and not to do. Once again, it's not a big part of most people's business, but every once in a while you deal with one and you're like, gosh, it's a different animal. There's a different contract that you need. You do different things with mobile homes than you do with real estate itself. Also, here are some other recorded sessions that you can find on our YouTube channel. And yes, we do have a training YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, I would highly encourage you, just go to YouTube, plug in the search, for our training. We have Offer Manager by Showing Time, which I mentioned earlier, how to reduce your taxable income. The new gentleman from Durgalis is heading that one up. Put the power of closes Chat GPT to work for you. If you don't know anything about Chat GPT, it's AI. It's unbelievable. I've started using it myself for a lot of things. You will be blown away by some of the things that you can plug into Chat GPT. Using MLS Touch and also Google Contact Sync. Once again, I will provide you with a link to our YouTube channel, but if you get on there, you can look at all those things in addition to others. Our Sunshine Kids fundraisers are coming up. First of all, we have a golf tournament, which is going to be in York this year at Regents Glen on September 27th. Here are the details having to do with that. It's a fabulous event in addition to a golf ball drop from a helicopter where you can buy a golf ball, and if it goes into the hole itself, you win some stuff. Okay, it's pretty neat. We also have our designer handbag and gift basket bingo coming up on October 26th. I know Julie, I know Adnella is part of that group. Everything's progressing okay at this point in time?
Things on track. We're just looking for donations.
Okay.
For eggs, raffle prizes, baskets.
For those people who are new and don't have any idea what we're talking about, when you say we're looking for donations, give us some examples of donations.
Designer bags, any sort of, themed gift basket, movie night, yeah, money, Tammy said money. So we can do shopping. Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big. What we're looking to do is get as many things as possible that evening. It's a great time, even if you just show up and get involved with the proceedings. It's a lot of fun that evening. Okay. Okay, now for some things that you can utilize with your clients. This is the home demand index for Central PA. This comes from Bright. I've talked about this in the past. Some of the numbers are too small, but you can see some color-coded stuff there. The orange means good. You notice that Lancaster County is good. Look at some of our surrounding counties. Okay. We are at the high end of the spectrum. Our index right now is at 136. You will see if you read the background on this, if you're at 100, that means you're in a pretty good market. So we are sitting bullseye in Central PA right now. So look at some of the surrounding counties. They're not as good as us. So take the time and understand what this is. Now, I actually utilized this with Lisa the other day. Lisa and I were having a question, or we were talking about a situation that she was involved with one of her listings. And one of the things that I noticed was I was looking at the bottom of the listing that she had, and it had the home demand index there for that specific area. If you're having these conversations with buyers and sellers about areas that they are either listing property in or buying property in, take a look at that. You can use some of that information with your buyers and sellers, and it's there on every single listing. They've started putting it there. Here's Lancaster County. Orange, once again, is good. Notice that the vast majority of Lancaster County is in the orange right now. So once again, you can utilize this information, and this comes out once a month. You can utilize this information by sharing it with the buyers that you're dealing with or the sellers of areas that they're interested in looking at. And if you have a seller that is in one of these limited areas, like here or here, these are areas that you don't want to screw around with price. I know we've just been through 2 years worth of pricing stuff where, you do the CMA and it comes in at 250 and you sells for 350. Chances are the stuff in the blue there isn't as popular as other stuff. So be very careful when you're listing properties there, how you're listing it. Pay more attention to the CMA and what kind of activity is going on in those areas. Okay. This comes from Freddie Mac, and this is from this last week, and I'm using this in conjunction with the next slide that talks about average home price in Lancaster County. And if you look at this, now you can't see this, probably the only person that can see this down here is me, but all the way back here in August of 2022, interest rates were at 4.99%. And everybody goes, God, wish we were going back to those days. Well, we may get there, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. Okay. Where I'm going with this, and in a second, I'll allow Jen to gather her thoughts here because she was on a Zoom call with me yesterday with Brian Buffini, as was Carol. One of the things that we have to do as agents is we have to start controlling the narrative of what gets out there to our buyers and sellers, because if we don't, the media is telling it for us, and the media is not doing a very good job. They just flat out aren't. They dwell on the negatives. Everybody's looking for clicks and things like that. It's our job to start talking with people. We're going to the balance of this meeting, we're going to start doing that. Okay. So look at when this was August 4th of 2022. That was the low point. And then it started going up. It rose rather rapidly. Here's the average sale price in Lancaster County. Look at August of 2022, which was where the interest rates started going up. What happened as soon as August hit? Our average price range started dipping. Okay, started dipping. Mainly because it was kind of shock to people. I'm sure Dan and James can tell you horror stories back at that time when they were dealing with people who were expecting to get a 4.99% interest rate. And all of a sudden, within 2 to 3 weeks, it was something a little different. Okay. And it drastically changed how people were trying to buy homes at that point in time. So that's what happened. And then over time, people kind of got used to it. And I think people today are getting used to it. Look what happened in February. That's what's happened in February, since everybody's starting to get used to these rates, which is a good thing, Now, and Jen, once again, if I can ask you to just chime in here. Yesterday, we were on a Buffini call. He does these once every 6 months or so. He talks a little bit about everything, the real estate market, interest rates, you name it. He had a guest on yesterday that dealt specifically with real estate and interest rates. Could you just share some general thoughts or things that you picked up from that meeting, Jen? Because I picked up a lot of things.
I think probably for me was the biggest thing, again, which we've been saying is, it's a pros market. And, for the most part, if you are not operating your business like a professional real estate agent, you're going to be left behind in this market, and we're already seeing that. We're seeing people make the decision to exit the business. We're seeing people, just not even understanding how to be competitive in the current market that we're in to get some of the transactions together that they need to get together. And then the other thing is get ready for what comes next, is that we're not necessarily right there ready for a turn in the market, but Buffini definitely talked about it. He thinks it's coming. He thinks fourth quarter is going to be busy in this year, but also building throughout next year and into 2025 being one of the best markets we've ever had. I think the thing is, again, it's a national conversation, and here in Lancaster County, we are still going to struggle with inventory right through all of that. But maybe we'll see some things loosen up a little bit because people are going to start to feel that pressure that they need to move again. But if you are not spending the time right now doing some of those real estate plans, putting your pipeline in order, making sure your marketing's out there, some other professional in the marketplace is going to beat you to it. So you definitely need to start working on it and make sure you have a really good plan and get ready. So we're going to help you do it.
Thank you. It was a great thing. I did download some resources from Brian Buffini, which I will share with everybody when I send out the notes and the video to this, because there's some really, really good stuff that you can use not only to educate yourself, but to educate your buyers and sellers. So once again, what is everybody hearing in the marketplace? I know I'm hearing that things are going down, all the prices are going down. What does that say? Okay, this is reality. You need to be sharing this with buyers and sellers out there, because buyers and sellers, I'm hearing more and more buyers say, I'm going to wait until real estate prices go down again. Well, if they go down, it's not going to be a lot. And you see over the last 4 or 5 months, have they gone down? No. Okay. Here's the average sale price over the last 5 years in Lancaster County. And by the way, the last bar is year to date. Obviously, we're not through 2023 yet. Does it look like we've seen any dips in Lancaster County? Nope. Okay. So this stuff needs to be shared with your clients. Once again, as Jen said, have these real estate conversations with people. We're going to talk about that a little bit later here. So what's a unicorn? Okay. Now, I subscribe to Keeping Current Matters. I know some people in here do also. This past month's stuff had to do with unicorns. And a unicorn is a person or a thing that is rare and highly valued, much like the real estate market was coming out of the pandemic, because everything was like way up here. Okay. The unicorn years in real estate, the housing market during the pandemic years, everybody, and some people who are brand new to the business, that's what everybody's used to. Everything way, way up here. Okay. However, that's not reality. And we're probably not going to go back to that anytime soon. And as Jen said, this is a professional's market. We can't just show up at an open house anymore and have 19 contracts at the end of the open house. Sometimes we do, but not often. So here's some things. Everything in red are the unicorn years. Everything in red is the unicorn years. So this is home appreciation. And by the way, this comes from Freddie Mac. In 2020, it was 11%. In 2021, it was 18%. And now in 2022, last year, it was 5%. And everybody went crazy, saying things are going to hell in a handbasket. Prices went down 72% in 1 year. Once again, that's what they said. They didn't really talk about this and say, well, it decreased 72% from the previous year, which
Tuesday.
is hello, please. Marion, please turn off your microphone.
Oh, I laughed.
Thank you, Marion.
I'm sorry.
Please mute yourself. Silence. I think she's laughing at our unicorn. So anyway, this is what the press is showing us, saying, look at this. We were really good here, and now look what happened to us. But look at this. What happened to the 3 years previous? Okay. We're right about where we should be. We're right about where we should be. Here's listings under agreement. Look at the unicorn years from 2021 and 2022. They were up 650,000, 562,000. And then in 2023, by the way, this is May of each year, not the whole year, May of each year. This is what we did in 2023. And everybody's going, things are going really, really sideways. Look at the previous years. Guys, we're right where we should be. Okay. It's not a unicorn year. Showing traffic. This is showing index, and this is over the last 7 years in March, okay? 271, 284. I think we all experienced this. If you were in the business at that time, you were all running around with your hair on fire. Sometimes you're still running around with your hair on fire. But the showing index has dropped 21%. Look at the previous years. We're still way ahead of what really was the non-unicorn years. Median days on the market. Here's what the press is focusing on. They're saying, God, things are really dwelling on the market a long, long time. Now we know that's a little different, okay? But compared to 21 and 22, they are. But look at where things were in previous years. We're still in a really, really good spot, okay? Homes for sale. This one, it's hard to sugarcoat. We all know our inventory has been low, and this is as of the end of May each year. Our inventory is low. That is gradually climbing, which is a good thing, But here's where we are historically. And during the Buffini call, one of the themes that came out of that Buffini call is, while this is going to continue to rise, it ain't going to get there overnight. It's going to take a little time to get there. So inventory levels, we're going to continue to struggle with a little bit. They're going to continue to keep rising, but it's going to take a while to get to the pre-unicorn years, okay? Months of inventory, that continues to rise a little bit across the country. We're up 32%. Once again, this is what the press is focusing on. They're saying things are lingering longer. This is where it was in previous years. We're still in a really, really good spot. Foreclosures. Every time I read an article about foreclosures, I want to throw up. Because, and by the way, I don't want to make light of foreclosures. People that are going through this stuff, it's terrible. Okay. But when you hear things in the press like foreclosures have doubled, they've doubled, things are really bad. That's really bad. Okay. So this kind of stuff we need to share with our people, because they're reading stuff that says foreclosures are up 214% and everybody's scared. We have to unscare people. One thing that you may want to consider as you go through your day-to-day with buyers, and I've constantly heard this, I'll say, have you considered new construction with your buyers? And I'll get the answer, it's going to take 6 to 9 months to go through that process. I don't want to do that, neither does my buyer. How many people in this room have been dealing with a buyer for 6 to 9 months? Okay. Have this conversation early and often. Hey, let's consider new construction, because it may be 6 to 9 months before we can get you into something. And by the way, of the 295 listings in Lancaster County right now, 164 are new construction. 164 are new construction. And by the way, that does not include potential build jobs that aren't listed in our MLS. It does not include pipeline inventory of things that are coming on the market. And it also, you eliminate all these competing situations, because if you're sitting down with a builder and the builder's rep, and you're saying, I'd like to build a house on that lot over there. There's one agreement that they're looking at, and that's yours. Okay, so take the time to understand new construction. Most of our inventory right now is new construction. Okay. So this is a depressing slide. This says the percentage of Americans who think prices will go down over the next 12 months. Now we can look at this and we can say, that's crazy. But that's reality. It's their perception that things are going to go down over the next 12 months. Okay. It's our job by showing them some of the things I just showed you here that that's not going to happen. It's not happening in Lancaster County, which is where they want to buy or sell property. So be cognizant of this stuff. That's a really scary number, but those are the feelings of buyers and sellers that are out there right now that are saying, I think things are going downhill. And that's not true. They're hearing things in the media that just absolutely, they're taking one tiny little snippet and they're getting scared to death. And that's unfortunate. Okay. So I saw this, which I thought was really, really interesting. Talking with homeowners makes a difference. This is coming from our friends at 1000 Watt, who we've actually partnered with on a couple things here with the company. And this is the percent of homeowners who desired to sell their home within 6 months who were more inclined to do so after speaking to an agent. 64%. In other words, if you have, as Jen just mentioned a couple minutes ago, you have these face-to-face conversations with buyers and sellers, show them some of these stats that I've shown you up here, that what they're reading in the media is not true. It's not true. Have these hard conversations with people, but they need to be had. You need to be the professional, okay? That's a strong number. That should be telling you something. Get in front of people. And our real estate planning sessions, which Jen just touched on, we just got through June in Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices. We had a whole month devoted to this. If you haven't taken advantage of this, we have lots of training resources. We've done a number of different things, both here. I know Jen did a session here. We've recorded some of these things. If you didn't attend one of these, go back through it. Yes, we're past June, but you can take this into July and August and the balance of the year. Okay, it doesn't necessarily need to stop with June. Okay, you need to be the trusted advisor. You need to get in front of sellers and buyers right now, share this information with them so that they understand the market and aren't scared. Okay, we have fabulous resources for you. Incredible resources for you to post on social media. This is in our Google Drive account that you have access to, and I'll send out the link if you forgot how to get into your Google Drive account. But post these on social media. These are drip type of things that people will look at, and hopefully, if you're making contact with them, they will want to sit down with you. Now, I usually end my meetings with some type of quote from a national prominent person. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to do it from one of our very own people who's standing in the back of the room. This comes from Donna. I committed to 2 of those real estate planning sessions, and I did 3 actually. I also sent out the item of value flyer about making a plan to 100 people in my database. One client referred me to his mom, and I am listing her house next week. The other 2 are looking into HELOC loans to do some repairs to be able to sell down the road. Thanks for the push at the meeting. Donna, I applaud you. Thank you. Yeah. So Donna, does this stuff work? Donna's,
You did. You said, could I use it, but I didn't know how you were gonna use it.
Donna, does this stuff work?
Yeah.
Okay,
Like, we had that, so it was like, you know, you could just get it from, you know, our marketing department.
exactly.
I just printed it, yeah. But it was very interesting, like, people do not comprehend the value of equity in their home. They just don't. Like, I had one client that I've been friends with forever, and I was just like, what are you not getting? Like, you know, I'm like, I had to sit down and break it down. I'm like, this is the value in your home. You take that, fix that, you know, and I had to really break it down. You just don't get it.
See, we as real estate agents, we live with this stuff every day. And we take it for granted. And we take for granted that people understand this stuff. You've got to sit down with them face to face and talk with them about this. Because if you do, did you see some light bulbs go off? Yes. Okay.
I mean, I had light bulbs go off in my head. So, you know, it's definitely a learning process for everybody.
Did I say how bright you look this morning? So this stuff works. Once again, take some of the material that we're talking about here, take that and get out in front of your databases and talk with them about this stuff. I think you'll be amazed at some of the people who the light bulbs will go off and they'll say, maybe I ought to do something here. Okay. But it's not going to happen unless you do this. Okay. Be the professional in this market. Okay. All right. We're at the end of our meeting. And I now have the world premiere of the drone incident. Oh, nice. Oh, that's awesome.
With me.
By the way, Steven Spielberg has asked me to be in his next movie. All righty.
It's the provoked
All right. Secure.
I would have been like personal.
Yes.
Is there profanity disclosure?
Okay, so there's no sound, so you won't hear me swearing. Sorry.
Did you spare? Yes.
Well, you'll have to read my lips. So the background of this, and by the way, this is the actual video that came from Sheets, so I have to give them credit. This was their surveillance video of the gas station. It is pitch black, by the way. They had the aperture to the camera wide open, which is why it looks like it's during the day, which you'll also see the drone that approaches me because it's all white. It looks like it's the size of like a little baseball. It was this big. Okay.
Sure, Tom.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, you'll see it approach one time. I'll show you where it came, and I'm looking at it kind of sideways. And then when it approaches me again, it actually comes right up to me, and you'll see me turn because I thought it was going to run into me, and then I took a swing at it. So, so I didn't know that part.
There's a bill.
Yeah.
I have a GoFundMe page. It's only 4 minutes long. So as you see me get out of my vehicle, I just picked up a pizza, so my wallet's in the front seat, and I forgot to undo my gas, so I have to get back into my car twice. This happens with old age, by the way.
swearing at that.
Yep.
This is always a pain too, getting the card in the right way. Yeah.
Aren't you on the edge of your seat with that?
Like,
Like pumping gas, how exciting.
Looks like there's one right on.
You're like, I wish something exciting would happen.
There's cars driving by, Jen.
I'm surprised your tag number isn't easier to be seen. Like if you would still guess, they wouldn't know who you are. I think the price in there.
So here it comes.
Oh my gosh. What was it doing?
This is from his face.
And I'm thinking, what the hell? I take a step toward it and it flies off.
Get out of here, dog. Yeah.
Comes back. It's like 1 foot away from me.
Let's go.
And then I stomped on it. So the balance of this is just me pumping gas, but when I'm done and I pull out, the guy who did this, he approaches me.
You punch in too?
Nah,
I like these. After this happened, you're like, okay.
So Tom, now, why was the drone there? What was the reason for the drone?
well, I'll talk about that in a second.
Gonna run over with your
Oh, it was flat.
forward back. I'd be so freaked out.
I would think it would be trying to steal your numbers. Your credit card information. That's what I'm saying.
So here he comes from the left.
And what time is this roughly?
7 o'clock at night. Here he comes. And he's saying, why did you do that? And I said to him, are you kidding me? And he asked a second time. He's trying to explain himself.
What was his explanation?
He didn't have a good one there. So as I drove off, he got my license plate number. Anyway, that's the video.